So Sarah, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
And
Last time was so much fun, so keep the
Yeah.
momentum rolling.
So today we are going to talk about where you can put your training, like platforms, LMSs that are free.
Yes.
So and there are like levels to this, right? There are full-blown free LMSs, and then there are like places you can put stuff and share it.
Yeah, that's fair. Like hosting,
yeah. And just so if we start at the sort of serious scale of the LMSs, I feel like Moodle is the one everyone has heard of, right? And I love that. But most of the free LMSs, the like thing is you need to have a server.
Yeah.
So people go, oh, it's free, it's amazing, it's great. And you're like, do you know what it costs to get a server? Not necessarily cheaper if you don't already have a server.
Right.
But if you work for a fairly large company, you probably already have a server.
Yes.
And you
most
just need
likely
to get your IT department on board.
Yes. Which, you know, can be hit or miss, depending on what type of information that your company works with. Again, the confidential proprietary information, it might be a little bit harder and lots more hoops to jump through. One thing I will say about Moodle is that it's been around for quite a while, and I feel like its security and its name has become rather well known and trusted.
Yeah.
So that does kind of work in your favor. You can find quite a bit of information out there to kind of support the adoption of Moodle.
Yeah, and there are tools that are compatible with Moodle as well because it's been around for so long. So yeah, that's a good thing. But I mean, I actually have a blog post. It's in Swedish, but a little Google Translate, and you can read that as well, where I just talk about like where you could put things, and I just list a bunch of other open source LMSs. I'm just going to throw out a few names here, but there's Forma LMS, Canvas, right? A-Tutor.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, and then there's Chameleon.
And these are all free?
These are all open source.
Nice.
So there are quite a few, and some of them are more catered, I guess, to like corporate, because Moodle is kind of university school oriented, because those are the biggest users of Moodle.
Right.
And so it still works for corporate, but there's just there's a corporate version of Moodle as well, but I don't think that's free, actually.
No, that one's not free.
So it's just like, okay, well, what's the point then? Like, why would I want this? But yeah, so that's like, and then you get, they are, like, some of them are really good. Some of them are not quite as good.
Leave some things to be desired.
Yeah, but so does most of the LMSs you buy.
Yeah, and I think too, you get some of those combo packs too. So like H5P, that is authoring tool. It's open source. There's a bit of a learning curve, but it is free, and they do have a hosting site for that, which is h5p.com. The only kind of downside to that is that if you do use that LMS portion, it's open to everyone. So you can't put anything confidential, proprietary. Good news is it does work with Moodle. So, you could use it that way. And then of course, got to put in my little plug for EdApp. I get, by the way, I get no monies ever for advertising.
But you should, because you do it so well.
Why, thank you. It's so funny right now. My company, they're like, are you going to go work for WalkMe? Because I feel like that's all we've heard about for like the past 3 months. I'm like, and walk me this and walk me that. And so, but when a tool is good, it sells itself, right? Yeah. So that's always a good indicator too, I feel like. And then so with EdApp, you can curate and develop content. They also have a lot of free content that you can pull from, and then it's an LMS built in.
Yeah.
So,
and I should say, if you're watching this, there will be links in the comments or the description for all of the tools we're talking about. So don't worry about that. And I'm going to try some of these tools, I think, for a video as well, like just dive into it a little with you guys. But that's going to be later. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And then you'll see if you like it as much as Sara does.
Absolutely. And I, again, it's free, so you can always go on and try them out and explore. I think part of the reason we tend to be so intimidated by new tools is it's that learning curve, right? Like, oh, I already know this tool, so I'm just going to stick with it or whatnot. But we live in a very interesting time where we can get learning on all of this stuff for free. Like there's people who do free webinars and workshops. YouTube's amazing. LinkedIn Learning, you can get 30 days free. A lot of places through your local library, you can also get LinkedIn Learning for free forever.
I don't know if that is true for Sweden, but that's look at your country and see what's going on there, because
and they call it Lydia Learning. So in most of the free, like if you like libraries or if your corporation has a subscription, like they call it Lydia Learning oftentimes, but it's the same thing. So, just get in and play. It's free. Go in, have fun. I know we also wanted to talk about some hosting. Places where you can
simpler, right? Because
no tracking of data, but
on the other hand, if you don't have the tech skills or the admin capacity, but you need to get stuff out there, and maybe you can measure the success by another metric, right? Like how well people are doing this now compared to before, or you could add something like a form like Google Forms or Microsoft Forms to do like a quiz to see if people have, grasped enough or not.
Well, and I know too for Articulate Storyline, what you could do is you could build out the course and then have it go into a certificate, and you could have them print that certificate at the end of course in like an Adobe PDF and then email it. So that's a way to track it manually.
Yeah.
It's also a good idea.
Exactly. So there are ways of tracking manually or semi-technically, I guess, with the forms and stuff like that. So yeah, let's talk about some great places to host your learning.
So for me, a couple different places that I know of, BitBalloon is one of them, which is just a hosting site. Isn't that a fun site?
Yeah.
It just makes me
I think I'm
of
going to edit in some balloons here.
And so that one's pretty good. Also, if you haven't heard of GitHub, oh man, GitHub is crazy cool. And what's nice about it is that it is free, open source. There are paid plans as well, but you can't. It's a little bit of a learning curve as far as like being tech savvy and putting in some HTML code, but it's not something that I'll put it this way. I don't know how to code. I know how to Google code, and I can do it just fine.
Yeah. And I think that's true of a lot of things where they say you need to code, is you actually only need to know how to Google code.
Right.
I should say, because we're talking about like where could you put your learning. And I think one thing that we don't necessarily think about, but that I've done, is just use your intranet.
Yeah.
So if you already have a company intranet, you can create a subdomain to your intranet and turn that into a place where you host learning.
Or if you use a website generator, or not generator, but a website platform as well, some of them are very robust and can host as well. I think Squarespace is it?
Squarespace, yeah, they have also like member sites you can use, and that's really good for that. But you can also just use a regular website and just create a page that is password locked, and then you only give the password to the people you want to see the course.
And I would be interested in seeing how to do that.
Yeah,
I don't think
I've done that for companies who don't have the tech capabilities and don't necessarily need them. They just need to be able to offer this content in like a good way. And the good thing about websites is, especially if they allow iframe, especially if they allow iframe,
big if,
because then you can create things. You can put things on YouTube unlisted, and you can embed those. Usually you can do that anyway because they have a feature for that for YouTube specifically, or Vimeo, but not any video site. But those two usually work. But then you could use like Genially. or like any other of those, and you can embed like interactive elements into the web page to still get that sort of, I don't know, test yourself, or, you know, see how much you know, or solve the riddle, whatever.
Or like in teaching, we used to have kids just go and learn that way, right? Yeah. Like we'd have them go through the module, and oftentimes you can create a guide if you really wanted some sort of metric or deliverable that you got, you know, you could always create something that they fill out. It could be a Google form, like Linnea was saying, it could just be a worksheet, you know, so.
Yeah, exactly. So there are ways to get around that. I actually built an entire like training, I call it a fake LMS, because it, you know, for the learner, it doesn't really matter. They don't know, right? It's just that we know that we're not collecting the data and we're not, but for them, they don't know. They just know that they go to the learning platform and there it all is. And one course would then be one web page, and it would be scrollable. So it kind of gives you a RISE feeling.
Nice. You know what you could do for that? You could do where they take a screenshot of the results and then in the Google form, you know, add in the picture of their screen results, and then it keeps it all in a nice spreadsheet for you.
Yeah, absolutely. There are lots of ways to go around it. And I mean, I think long term, right, maybe you want to get a more like full system, robust system, and you maybe want to collect all that data, and you maybe, you know, don't want to do the manual admin.
Once you get to be a bigger shop.
So, but it's a good way to start out, especially if you're trying to convince your company that digital learning is a good idea. Like if you need to get people on board and they don't know what an LMS is, they don't know what e-learning really is. So, and you say like, we need all this money, right, to get this platform for learning. And they just look at you like, I don't even know what that is. Like, why would we buy that? What is that? What good
and you would
that?
show them and you'd say, well, this is what it can do. Yeah. But if we paid for it, it could also do.
Yeah, exactly. And the good thing about that is all the content you create. Like if you make a video, well, you can embed that into an authoring tool later. All the text you've written, you can copy paste into any authoring tool or other page. If you create images, same thing there. And, you know, okay, if you've created something in, say, Genially, you can't just move that, but you can recreate it very easily because you've already done the thinking. Now you just need to get all the things working the same way.
Right.
But it's not that as much work, I think, as in figuring out what it should be. It's kind of easy to just move it into your authoring tool and then add it to your LMS. Or if you buy a platform that tracks things, because that's also an option, like it's a lighter version of an LMS, you could say, like it's a learning platform. It does track things, but you can't add as many things as you would. But it has more features than a website, less features than an LMS, I would say. But that's also an option, also super easy to just move it. So I feel like you're not wasting your time doing that first as a way of sort of testing it out. And I mean, because you need time, there's not a one size fits all. So you need to figure out what works for your organization. All right, well, so this has been an episode about where to put things. I think we're going to put all the links to everything we've talked about in the description. And I might be extra nice to you and add some more links. So remember to check it out because you don't know what I'm going to put there. All right. So thank you, Sara. We'll see you in the next episode. So great to have you here. I'm going to put Sara's social contact links as well below. So get in touch with her if you need to.